Damn, I'm good.
Excellent!
Hasta la vista, baby.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
Hello, welcome back to Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to the Boring Company. And it's one of those great days where I get to announce yet another project that the Boring Company is currently proposing for a city. And for the first time ever, it is not in the USA. It is in Dubai. Now, Dubai is extremely affluent, so the money is absolutely there, and there is the political will to make this all happen. So, from my perspective, there is definitely a very good chance that this will happen. Whereas, for example, if you look at the most recent proposed project in Texas at the university, I'd give that maybe a 50-50 chance. This particular project, maybe a 60 to 70% chance of getting over the line. Ultimately, the issue is that when the Boring Company looks at particular projects and identifies bottlenecks with planning and the local authority and moving things forward, if it then gets unsatisfactory answers and it feels that the project could potentially become very difficult to execute because permissions are taking a long time and the local authorities are not really helping them as much as they need, then they will essentially back away from a project. So I'm fairly confident in this one. So let's actually look at the details. So this is from the Boring Company website, which is boringcompany.com if you want to look at it yourself. In a landmark collaboration poised to set the standard for urban mobility, the RTA, Roads and Transport Authority of Dubai, in partnership with the Boring Company, have jointly announced they have entered into a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to bring the Boring Company's loop system to Dubai as Dubai Loop, with a 17-kilometre pilot loop transportation system as the initial phase of the project. Dubai, under the visionary leadership of His Highness Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, what an incredible name, has consistently aimed to be at the forefront of global urban development. The initial Dubai Loop pilot will have 11 stations and 17 kilometres of tunnel. So the stations are going to be very close together, every 1.4 kilometres or something in that kind of region. Not actually around the numbers, so let's say around 1.4 kilometres. It might be slightly less than that. It's going to be kind of difficult for vehicles to get up to speed and then to deaccelerate, so it's very tightly packed, that. And will transport over 20,000 passengers per hour, with the goal of ultimately expanding into Dubai Loop, our next generation underground transportation system. Throughout the Emirate of Dubai, this collaboration will explore the use of sustainable innovative technologies to safely, efficiently transport passengers via the Boring Company's proven loop system. And it is proven because it's moving tens of thousands of people every day in Las Vegas. People often forget that. Which has only transported 2 million passengers across Las Vegas since 2021. Vegas Loop is currently under active development and has been entitled for 104 stations at 110 kilometres of tunnel. So again, you look at that and you look at that, it's about the same thing, isn't it? Very, very tightly packed in. A lot of stations and not that many miles of tunnel. And that logistically is a challenge, but we're not here to talk about that today. Let's look at the basics of it. About the Dubai Loop system, feel free to pause the video if you want to read this. Reduce travel times, increase capacity, promote sustainability. They already have some light rail systems in Dubai, but they don't really connect that many places. The ultimate expanded system aims to handle over 100,000 passengers per hour. That will require at least bare minimum 50 kilometers of track or tunnel. Sorry, my apologies. Potential speeds up to 100 miles per hour. Again, it will be closer to 60 miles an hour than 100 miles per hour, just due to the nature of how close the stations are. Utilise electric vehicles within a controlled environment. The system will contribute to Dubai's ambitious sustainability goals, aligning with Dubai's Clean Energy Strategy 2050. Even though they're one of the largest producers of oil, and that ultimately gets burned or turned into lubricants or whatever else, or turned into plastic, whatever else that crude oil is used with. So I mean, they're really grasping at straws by saying that we are sustainable, but we export 4 million barrels of oil every single day. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm sure it's a lot less than that. But hey, anyway, there you go. That's the statement. If you want to read it, pause the video and have a look. This was also announced on the Boeing Company X page. Elon Musk, I'm excited to announce that the Dubai Loop will be built by the Boeing Company. Incredible. And there's a signing. And then we've got Elon Musk there as well, announcing Dubai Loop. This is the guy that apparently is running it, Hamdan bin Mohammed. For some bizarre reason, when you go onto his page, it doesn't work. So that's a bit weird, considering he's the crown prince. But never mind. Let's have a look at some more details. Dubai's Road and Transport Authority has signed an MOU with the Boeing Company. We already know that. The project will facilitate direct travel to the destination stations with no stops in between, travelling at speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour, which is 99.4 miles per hour. Elon Musk has earlier confirmed plans to enter into partnership with Dubai to develop the project. There's plenty of money there. They're going to fund this. It doesn't really matter if it costs $8 million per mile. They're still going to buy this. Cost is not an issue. It's because they want to get access to the technology before anyone else. Because we are on the cusp of autonomous vehicles now. We are literally 4.5 months away from Tesla operating its autonomous taxi system in Austin. Here's kind of a banner that I've seen around. Length 17 kilometers. So when they say 17 kilometers, I suspect it's the route length is 17 kilometers. So it's actually 34 kilometers of overall tunneling. Capacity of 20,000 passengers per hour, which is very decent, and I presume that'll be a 24-hour system. You'll be able to use that, pretty much all the way around. Maybe from 4 o'clock in the morning till 11:45 in the evening. 11 stations. Will the 11 stations be above ground or below ground? It's hard to say. There's not the details there. I suspect they'll be above ground, but who knows? I suspect they will run this under an existing road, like one of the major roads, and then they'll have the stations at the side of the road. It will look very similar to how it does in Las Vegas, in some places, especially in and around the conference center. And I just thought I'd kind of look at this tunnel again. So this is the most recent tunnel that the Boeing Company has completed, that we have access to, and it'll be very similar to this. It'll go underneath and then it'll come up and then there'll be a station and then it'll go down and then it'll come up and there'll be another station and it'll just be like that every 800 to 1,000 meters. Yeah, that's what I think. Well, look at this beautiful structure as well. What is incredible that is. But overall, I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is going to be quite interesting to watch them develop it. Yeah, so just in terms of my kind of predictions, I don't think we'll see any construction this year. I don't think. It's possible maybe we might see something in November, December, but there's no plans. It seems like it's kind of off the cuff, and based on what Elon Musk is doing at the moment with the US government, maybe there's been some handshake deal, and then this has been announced just days later. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe it's been cooking up in the background for 2 years. Who knows? But it gives me the impression it's a little bit rushed, this, but we'll see. So 11 stations and 17 kilometers. So 11 stations, that's going to be at least 150, maybe more, 180. Let's say $180 million for those 11 stations, and then those 17 kilometers. What should we say? 50, 60. It's hard to. I don't even know what the geology is like under Dubai. Because I know in some of these Middle East areas there is a very thick layer of clay underneath the sand. Right underneath the desert. There's 40, 50. Well, maybe not that much, but 20 to 30 foot of just clay, and boring through that is essentially impossible. You're gonna have to go underneath it or go above it, so it's hard to really put a fixed cost on that. I'd say under $85 million, I'd say, for those 17 kilometers in my opinion, but I'll come back to you with more details when I know them. But it's an exciting project, but the Boeing company's got to be very, very careful, because they're getting into this habit now whereby someone will come to them with a proposal. They'll say, yeah, let's do it. They'll have a press conference, agree to do it, sit down, draw up some plans, do some basic kind of surveys and bore holes and things like that, and then realise that it's going to be very difficult for them to work with that local authority and to do it for a set price. And when they go back to the local authority, there is obviously some kind of disagreement there, and then they just decide to move on to other projects. What doesn't help them, really, the Boeing company, is the fact that they have this. It's kind of a double-edged sword, really. They have this Las Vegas project, and the Las Vegas project is an absolute monster. And for most contractors, that one project would be enough to sustain them for 20 years. And the Boeing company is trying to think a bit bigger than that. And every time they have problems with other projects, they go back to Las Vegas, and it's so easy to get approvals. It's so easy to start construction. It's so easy to find people to work for the company, and everyone's already set up in that one city, that it's a hard nut to crack. So they're kind of sticking to a project they already know, where there's lots and lots of extra tunnels that are going to be built this year, rather than start new projects and having to move the team to different states and different countries. But yeah, I think there's probably a very good chance that this will get built. I think that it could be massively expanded. Just like Las Vegas, Dubai has kind of got its own very interesting kind of how Dubai developed, basically, and how Las Vegas developed. In some ways, there are some similarities there, in that they're not cities that are based on a particular, industry like steel or building ships or spinning cotton or something like that. They've kind of spun out off entertainment and gambling and things like that, and experience something that no one else can do. But yeah, this is a good project. Hopefully it gets built. If it doesn't get built, who gives a damn? I'm sure some people will cry about that and say, the Boeing company failed because they only built this one project in Las Vegas, and you know it wasn't really that big. You know, it was only 70 miles they built. That's all. It's like, well, it's a big project, man. Come on. But there you go. Hope you enjoy that. Hope you like the update. I'll keep you all posted. Got another video coming out in the works. Very sorry for not really producing it much this year so far, but I'm struggling for motivation, and I will find that motivation next month. I guarantee you that. If not next week, but who knows? It will happen. Very interesting times ahead. Don't be boring. Take care now, and goodbye. Oops, wrong one.
I've got news for you. You are mine now. You belong to me.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.